For the anterior shoulder, we're going to start out by palpating the clavicle and following that all the way until we reach that bulb right here and it stops. This is where it meets the sternum and will be called the sternoclavicular joint. And for the sternoclavicular joint, we have an inferior glide. So go ahead and bring your arm up, and that brings this down. And then go ahead and bring it down. We also have a superior glide. Go ahead, take your arm back, takes that back, and then we have a posterior glide. Go ahead and bring it forward. Good. And each time the sternoclavicular joint moves with that motion. 3. All right. So right up in here again, we have the clavicle. We have the most medial portion at this bulb here, and then we can follow it out to the middle. And then if we follow it all the way out to where it stops and we feel that bulb right there, we have the most lateral portion. Again, finding that clavicle and following it laterally all the way out until we hit that little ball. We will then fall off, which leads us to our acromion, the roof of the shoulder. All right, again, we are going to follow our collarbone all the way out until we drop off onto the roof of the shoulder. Again, touching that acromion, and then we will feel that joint right there. It's called the acromioclavicular joint, and there is 2 motions with this. We have the anterior roll, so go ahead and go backwards, and I can feel that roll right in there. And then we also have the posterior roll, go forwards, and then that moves with it as well. All right, so if we follow kind of that teardrop shape of our deltoids, and on that humerus, we will be able to feel a little bump called the deltoid tubercle. All right, so again, finding that clavicle right here, following it to the most lateral portion, dropping off onto the roof, the acromion, and then coming down and pinching, we can find the head of the humerus right there. All right, so from that clavicle all the way out, drop off to the acromion. Right under there, we can feel a little bump, and that is where the coracoid is located. For the last portion of the anterior shoulder, we have what is called 2 hills and a valley. So we'll come clavicle, follow out to the acromion, jump off to this notch right here, and then palpate that head of the humerus again right in here, and then we'll come over and there will be a bump, a groove right next to it, and another bump. That is our 2 hills and a valley. The first bump is the greater tubercle. That groove is the bicipital groove, and that last bump is the lesser tubercle.